to AEW Unrestricted, the official podcast of All Elite Wrestling, presented by our good friends at Upper Deck. Collect your favorite wrestlers in 2024 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrap, autograph, memorabilia, and premium tech inserts, and visit upperdeck.com to learn more. Folks, I'm Will Washington, but I'm not alone here. I'm never alone on this show because Aubrey Edwards is also here. Aubrey, holding down the fort last week.
I was, yeah. You were a little indisposed at the moment, so as evident by the actual podcast, it's like, something's wrong. Let's call the refs and see if we can fix this.
Look at that. That's great.
Right? It's like, when life imitates art, this is wonderful.
It is.
And it was a fun conversation. It was me and Bryce and Mike Posey. It was great. But I'm so happy you're back. I'm also happy that Upper Deck sent us some new packages. First off, they sent me this cool, awesome mom sweater, which is like oversized. I'm going to cut it.
Well, would you call it that? Because I was going to say I got one too.
Right. Well, then it's a dad sweater. It's like, it's a gender neutral sweater. It's whatever you want it to be.
There we go. Yeah. That's my mom's sweater too. Yeah.
Very 90s. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah,
I'm moving in that direction. But then they also sent us these awesome Allure packs, which are the new ones that have just come out. Ooh, fancy.
Yeah.
I got 2 boxes, so I'm excited. I'm going to open one today. But we've got on the front, we've got Hikaru Shida, we've got Julia Hart, we've got Cope, and this is 8 cards per pack. Ooh, I like how fancy it is. It's like sideways, weird.
Yeah. No, you got this cool carton, and I want to open a pack.
Carefully opening this to not hurt any of the merchandise. Ooh, okay, I'm already excited.
Ooh, I got a great set. Yeah.
They're all shiny.
Oh my goodness. Look at these.
Oh, dude,
all right, first
these are
off,
so shiny.
We've got my good dear friend, the CEO.
Hell yeah.
Mercedes Mone. Who else we got here?
I have someone she faced in a title defense for her TBS championship. I have a Queen Aminata.
Look at that. I have somebody else who's famously challenged for the TBS title. I believe she was the first challenger for the TBS title. I've got Sky Blue.
Hey, I love it. I'm very excited that I pulled this card because I love not just promoting our on-screen talent, but also the people that maybe don't get a lot of on-screen time, but still make our show as great as possible. I have Alvaro, who's one of our Spanish commentators.
Oh my God!
I had no idea he had a card. I'm going to bring this to work and be like, "Did you know this?"
Yeah, make him sign it.
I'm just going to let him keep it. Like,
I've got here an aerial allure, and we've got our good pal Zay hitting the air here.
Nice. I have what they're calling a color flow, because all of these are very like silvery backgrounds, whereas this one is a very elegant Will Ospreay with lots of colors.
I have a color flow as well. All right, check this out, because mine is orange, fittingly for the one and only Orange Cassidy. Almost called him by his real name. Shouldn't do that. But yeah. Yep.
Oh, these are great.
Yes. His
Shout
full
out
name
to Upper Deck.
His full name of Orangington Cassidy.
There you go. There you go. Good save, brother. But yeah, I love that Upper Deck keeps sending us all these cool things. Like, I had no idea trading cards were as cool as they were until they became our title sponsor. Because like I grew up with like baseball cards, which is like, cool, here's an updated picture of said pitcher with their new stats. But these are like, it's like a coolness like action figures, right? Like you can touch it, you can feel it, you can look at it. It's got cool shininess. There's the ones that we had last time, the Black Diamond ones that have like the 3D-ness to it. So it's pretty cool. Thank you, Upper Deck, for always sending us fun goodies.
These have been phenomenal. Thank you, Upper Deck.
These have been very, very cool. Absolutely. But you know what else is phenomenal? What we've got going on this weekend in Brisbane, Australia. I'm so stoked to have this show. I'm not stoked for the travel. I think it's like a 20-hour travel day to get out there. But this Saturday, AEW Grand Slam, February 15th at the Brisbane Entertainment Center in Brisbane, Australia. You can watch it immediately following the NBA All-Stars Saturday night, coast to coast on TNT. And of course, you can stream it on Max because streaming on Max is the new home of AEW. And it's been awesome. I've loved being able to like tell my friends, oh, you already have Max? Yeah, no, definitely. Like, go and watch us.
And the ease of of, I talked about the first day that we launched on Max. I had posted about the searchability function, and I think we almost take for granted how convenient that really is. But to be able to just put in a date and Dynamite, and you will pull up, as long as it's available, you can pull up that episode, is actually really cool. And if you want a pay-per-view that's available on Max, you can just search by the pay-per-view name, which is actually kind of cool. And it's, again, that's a functionality that I've always wanted when it comes to my wrestling. Yeah, and honestly, I love it. I love the convenience of it all. It's been great, and you can watch Grand Slam Australia on Max. And we can start by talking about our main event, which is the AEW Women's World Championship on the line. Mariah May defending the AEW Women's World title against Timeless Toni Storm.
Okay, so this was already, I've talked about this before on this podcast. This was one of my favorite matches that I did last year, but also hands down one of the best matches at All In when Mariah May initially won the title from Timeless Toni Storm back at Wembley Stadium in London. And to see them kind of come back around, oh my God, last week, Toni Storm with her trashy weave falling out in the middle of the match. It's like she respects Mariah May so little she didn't even buy good hair. That was my favorite part of all of that.
I mean, I will say when I saw her backstage, I did a double take because you and
literally everybody else, dude.
She walked past and I was just like, oh, there's Mariah there, and I went, no, that is absolutely not Mariah. And this is, you know what? The thing about Toni Storm is that when she steps into a role, you absolutely know that Toni Storm is going to take over that role. You want to talk about the greatest method actors of our time, you will put Timeless Toni Storm in that category because she takes over a role. The question is, can she take over the role of being AEW Women's World Champion for the 4th time? If she wins it, she sets the record. She becomes the first ever 4-time AEW Women's World Champion.
I was going to ask, is that the record? But I guess it would be.
That is the record. There's only 2 3-time champions, and it's Toni Storm and Hikaru Shida. And so Toni Storm has the opportunity here to become the first ever 4-time champion. But Mariah May has had a stronghold on that title since the aforementioned All In when she defeated Toni Storm. There's a lot on the line here besides the title. There's the pride of for Toni Storm. Mariah May was working under Toni Storm for so long. And we learned later on that she was biding her time, that she was gaining her trust, and she eventually betrayed Toni Storm. Toni Storm, of course, made her comeback a few weeks ago, and in the process of making her comeback, convinced the world that she had no idea who Timeless Toni Storm even was. And thought we had hit a little bit of a reset, but it turned out she pulled one over on the world.
Literally everybody.
Just as Mariah had. And now here we are going into the main event of Grand Slam Australia with the world title on the line. This is going to be, I think, thinking about what they were able to do at All In, knowing what they've got here now, I think Timeless Toni Storm and Mariah May are going to set the world on fire here, this time from the other side of the world.
Right, exactly. Right, it'll be the middle of the night over where we are, but over there it'll be oh my God. Oh, man. This match makes me so excited because Mariah could win, Toni could win, and ultimately the real winner is all of us because this storyline has been my favorite storyline in all of wrestling for as long as it's been going. I think it's a great testament to everyone that is involved in this. The growth from the wrestlers that we've seen, both from on-screen characters as well as in-ring technicians. It's everything about this has been excellent. And I love that these women are getting their due, their time in the spotlight, much that they have been because they've earned it. And I love that Toni gets to wrestle in front of her family in her hometown, which is also just a fun little bonus.
Yeah, no, this is going to be great. And I am so excited to see this side of Toni Storm in that it's been a very, very long time since she's been the challenger for the AEW Women's World Championship. She had that title for a very long time. Last time she was the challenger was Full Gear 2023.
Wow.
And now knowing that that it's Mariah May's back who is against the wall this time. But Mariah has come out on top every single time thus far, other than the Eliminator match against Anna Jay. But other than that, she continues to come out on top, and she knows when it's time to defend that title. She knows exactly how to do so, and she knows how to defeat Toni Storm.
I'm getting like goosebumps just thinking about this match. I'm so excited. Oh,
It's going to be great.
Worth the flight. I'm so excited.
Well, continuing on our theme of our Aussie friends, Buddy Matthews, another Aussie native, a member of the Hounds of Hell, is going to be challenging the AEW Continental Champion, Kazuchika Okada.
I'm super stoked about this match because I feel like Buddy Matthews is definitely one of those guys that has been underrated for a long time, even though he shouldn't be, because every time he's in the ring, it's breathtaking watching him do what he does. And I feel like seeing the Hounds of Hell kind of become this version of themselves that is, they're out for even more blood than they were previously. And we've seen Okada, who is... Having watched Okada in New Japan and then seeing Okada in AEW, it's like he's still the incredible wrestler that he always has been, but I love Okada with an attitude. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, the way he has been able to make one word his own over the last year has been so great. And I think it's even worse for him when you insinuate that he is one, because all of a sudden now you have like opened the floodgates for who Okada is, and the way that Buddy Matthews called him into question last week on Collision, and the way you could almost see everybody, every fan in Houston go, "Oh, buddy, I think we're about to see another side of Okada," and we're about to see. It's not to say that the new Okada hasn't been just a whole heap of fun, but you don't want to know what that old Okada is going to unleash on Buddy Matthews, and the way that Buddy Matthews pulled that out of him, I don't know. And the other piece I find interesting is that, again, we talk about kind of home court advantage and the fact that Buddy Matthews is in his home country. And there's, I think, a lot he's going to want to prove to this audience that has been hungry and starving for AEW as long as they have. And now knowing that you get to be one of many guys on this show who have the opportunity to bring some gold home. The way Buddy Matthews has been able to step up in the rebirth of the Hounds of Hell, I'm really looking forward to this match. I think this has the potential to steal the entire show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm very much looking forward to Okada and Buddy Matthews.
Same. And I'm looking forward to talking about the rest of this show that's absolutely stacked. Coming up here on AEW Unrestricted after a quick short break.
Unrestricted.
This is AEW Unrestricted. Aubrey and Will talking about the amazing and the wonderful show that is happening this weekend, AEW Grand Slam Australia, this Saturday, February 15th at the Brisbane Entertainment Center in Brisbane, Australia. It is AEW's debut down under. I'm so excited. I know that I will at least be able to see koalas because Madison Rain found a place that smartly upsells you. They're like, if you want to hug a koala, it costs $10 more. And I'm like, that's an easy way to make $10.
Yep. And, you know, Grand Slam has always traditionally been a show that I think has delivered on such a grand level. Like when I think about, you know, I remember being at the first Grand Slam and seeing from the crowd Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega and how just awesome that was. Like you can see when the Snapdragon, when Kenny hits the Snapdragon on Bryan on the stage, there's me like right there front row, just like jaw on the floor.
I'm going to go back and watch this now.
and having been at all the Grand Slams since, because I've worked for AEW since. It's always an amazing show, and it's always been a blast to put on. And to now take Grand Slam as a concept overseas and to deliver it to Australia in the way we're about to, I think is very cool. And to get to see some of the title matches that we're putting on, because Aubrey, what do we have next on the card?
Ooh, man. Okay, we were talking about some Aussies in the last segment. Here's a nice card I just pulled for Buddy Matthews. We've talked about 2 Aussies on the card, Toni Storm and Buddy Matthews, but we can't talk about Grand Slam without talking about probably like one of the MVPs of AEW currently, Miss Harley Cameron, who is just completely blowing up in the way that she should be. Like, we've all known her to be absolutely hilarious, multifaceted, extremely talented, gorgeous, all of the above, and a phenomenal wrestler. And now she's getting a chance to take on Mercedes Mone, the CEO for the TBS Championship in her home country. I am so excited. I cannot tell you how stoked I was to see the Harley halftime show where she's playing on a guitar and a puppet is in a baby Bjorn on her back.
That was so good. It was so good. It was so good. And like the way the mouth was just agape while Mercedes is talking, and you like, you can't even like focus on anything Mercedes herself is saying, because this puppet Mercedes is just like, okay.
That's all I saw online was just clips of like the puppet and Mercedes in the same frame. And it was so wonderful. Like it's the kind of thing that is written so perfectly for the people involved, right? Because who would have thought you have a wrestler who's an incredible singer, but also a ventriloquist? And like, I've seen her live. She actually did a ventriloquist set on the Jericho Cruise, along with like 12 other performance acts that she did. Harley's quite literally an MVP of just the women's division. She's incredible and wonderful, and I'm glad she's getting this opportunity. But Mercedes has had this title for quite a long time now, and
yes,
we've seen her in her entire career be absolutely dominant. She has had incredible matches on pay-per-view. She's had incredible matches on television. She's great on the mic. She's just all over, like one of the greatest female wrestlers ever. One of the greatest wrestlers ever, in my opinion. So to have her face Harley, who only recently finally won a match on Dynamite, this is going to be a really interesting match. Collision. First match on AEW. How about that?
Yes, AEW TV. She won her first AEW TV match.
There we go. It's very, very clear. Yes, pardon me. But to see both of these two in the ring, I think they're going to actually tear it up. It's going to be really good.
You know, it's crazy. We've talked on the show how good of friends we all are, and knowing Harley personally, and how much she truly wanted this match. We saw it on TV play out in a way where she was asking Mercedes at every turn to get this match in her home city, in her home, to make sure that she has the opportunity to challenge Mercedes for this title. But what was so interesting is that, you know, she was banging down the door for this match long before we saw it happen on TV. This is such a dream opportunity for her, and to know that she has the chance to make history in her home city by winning only her second TV match in doing so.
Be wild.
It would be wild. But just to step in the ring with Mercedes Mone like this, I think is also already just a huge milestone for her. And
it is. And it's extremely intimidating. As someone who's officiated a good chunk of Mercedes matches since she joined AEW, it's like I was always a huge fan of her. And there's not many people that I get kind of like nervous around because they're all coworkers, right? But her, I get nervous because of just the presence that she brings. So it's like Harley's got a lot ahead of her.
She does. I think Mercedes is really hard to bet against, right? But I think that with this being such a major opportunity for Harley, and the fact that she already has her first win under her belt, why stop here?
She's on a roll, man.
Win the gold. Take it home. You heard that crowd chant "Feel the Wrath" in Houston Yep, and they started chanting for Harley. She will definitely have these fans behind her in Brisbane. The question is, can Mercedes hold off both the crowd and turn back the challenge of Miss Harley Cameron?
Also, shout out to Houston, which was an absolutely phenomenal crowd. I was at home watching Collision and was just like, this is so great. These, like, can we bottle them up?
Yeah.
It's one of the things that's great about Texas, right? It's like knowing that we have All In coming this summer. I'm like, yes, all of them. Please go to AEWTix.com, buy tickets, come to our biggest show of the year. It's going to be insane.
And shout out Bun B for bringing the Trill Burgers.
I'm sure those were delicious. I don't pay attention to Ricochet's opinions.
Yes, absolutely. Don't pay attention to anything old Trevor says there. But we then have this one is possibly going to be the hoot of the night. Yes, this one is definitely going to be a wild one. We've got a Brisbane brawl. The Death Riders, Jon Moxley, AEW World Champion Jon Moxley, and Claudio Castagnoli teaming up to take on Cope and Jay White.
Yeah, this one's gonna be fun. Like, I always love matches that are like city name and brawl, like street fight or whatever it may be, because I always like to see the kind of interesting twists whatever city may play into it. And who knows? We've never been in Australia. Jon Moxley is like a psychological crazy person, so I'm sure he's thinking of all new kinds of violence that can take place down under. I'm stoked for this match.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of implications here. We know Cope wants a shot at the AEW World Championship at Revolution. Jon Moxley not interested in giving Cope that title match. And then at the same time, you've got New Zealand's own Jay White, who isn't too far from where this match is taking place. Jay White, I think, has a lot to prove. He has defeated Jon Moxley in singles competition before, and he, I think, is ready to get that singles title match that he has been fighting for this entire time, to know that he gets the team with Cope. I saw somebody note, which was kind of cool, that there you go, with the Adam Copeland card.
Get the Copeland card.
Somebody had noted that Jay White was in attendance for what we thought was Cope's last match in 2011. And so what was interesting there was that they put it side by side with a picture of Cope and Jay White shaking hands at Dynamite last week. And those were already two cool facts, that, you know, Jay White was there. But then I pointed out, hey, both of these pictures, Jay White being at Cope's last match and them shaking hands, both in Atlanta.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Really?
So it's kind of come full circle for Jay White to get the team with Cope like this. I think is really cool, and to get to do it on this stage in Australia, I think is going to set the tone for who gets to step up next to challenge for the AEW World Championship. I think Jay White very much has a strong case to get to be the next challenger, but Cope has been banging at the door for it. I think both guys have the opportunity to pull a victory off here, but also, let's say the Death Riders do take the victory here. I don't think Cope and Jay White have a case for the title at that point.
No, what happens? It's crazy.
I think at that point, Jon Moxley's proven what he said, which is that this isn't worth his time. So I think that Cope and Jay White have a lot to prove here. This is going to be an exciting match. It's going to be an exciting time. And again, the level of star power here that we're putting on for Grand Slam Australia is just off the charts. Again, this show airs this Saturday, February 15th. It is the Brisbane Entertainment Center in Brisbane, Australia. You can watch it immediately following the NBA All-Star Saturday night, coast to coast on TNT. And of course, you'll be able to stream it on Max. And we have a lot more to talk about here on AEW Unrestricted. And we're going to do that right here after this break.
Unrestricted.
AEW Unrestricted. It's Aubrey and Will. We're talking about Grand Slam Australia this Saturday, February 15th at the Brisbane Entertainment Center in Brisbane, Australia. You can watch it immediately following NBA All-Star Saturday Night, coast to coast on TNT. And of course, stream it on Max, 10:30. Let's do this. I want to talk about this next match because
It's a doozy.
This is a doozy. This is a dream come true for so many reasons. But we are going to see the Don Callis families, Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher, of course, another Australian native, taking on the Dream Team, the Mega Team, the All-Star Team of Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. These are two men who we have talked about in the past as men who have torn each other to shreds. One of my favorite matches of 2023 saw these two kill each other we saw it twice in 2023. We saw it at Wrestle Kingdom in New Japan, and then they brought it over to Forbidden Door where they went even further.
It was wild.
It was wild. These two have never, ever held back when it came to the words they've thrown at each other. They have said some crazy things about each other. Will Ospreay has come on this podcast and talked about how he felt about the things Kenny Omega had to say. And to see these two on the same page, because if there's one person who can bring their hatred together, it's Don Callis. And Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, Dream Team. This is so exciting. I'm so excited to see these two team up and take on the AEW International Champion, Konosuke Takeshita, and Kyle Fletcher. I think, I talked about how Okada and Buddy Matthews could potentially steal the show, but I think these four men have a very firm grip on it, and it may be very hard to pry it out of their hands.
This is one of those, this is a pay-per-view match on free TV. This is the kind of thing that we dream about as wrestling fans, and that when we get to be there in the building and see it and feel the emotion of the crowd, these are the kinds of matches that make wrestling as special as it is. Also, just side note, I love that Don Callis is the great unifier, that we all hate Don Callis.
Absolutely. It never fails.
So I just want to call back to the incredible, I think it was Dynamite, the incredible opener. It was just a segment where we saw Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay climbing scaffolding and then jumping off of it. I don't know how Will didn't break his ankle in this, but to have a challenge made while you're hanging from scaffolding in the air on a microphone, there's something so impressive about that. And if you weren't already impressed about these gentlemen, here's one more reason. We're going to just serve it on a silver platter for you. Look how badass these guys are.
Love it. It was such a great opening. I think that was, I said it to Tony at the time, I thought that was an all-time great Dynamite opening segment. And to now see it come together in this match at Grand Slam Australia, I think the fans in Brisbane are going to be in for quite a treat.
Oh, yeah.
This is the match probably I'm looking forward to the most. And
you can't keep saying that because we're all looking forward to every match.
I know.
It's but almost like the people on the creative team are really good at what they do.
And then, like I said, this match is going to be something special. And I think it's going to be something everybody remembers. Like I said, Grand Slam has always been something we've delivered, but we've always delivered it to the States. And to get to take Grand Slam overseas and do Grand Slam Australia at this level, I think is going to be something very, very special. You do not want to miss this show. You want to be there. If you're in Australia, if you're in Brisbane, it's at the Brisbane Entertainment Center, AEWTix.com. But you can also watch it immediately following NBA All-Star Saturday Night, coast to coast on TNT. And please also watch it on Max, 10:30. Let's do this. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm stoked. We've got so many Aussie talent on this show. Aussie and Aussie adjacent. We mentioned Kyle Fletcher in that last match, but I don't think we've given him the credit that he deserves. And before we close out, I just want to shout out to Kyle Fletcher. The fact that we've seen him grow in the last year, and now we get to see him wrestle with some of people who are considered the greatest wrestlers of all time.
And it's so hard for him to grow, by the way, because that is a tall man.
Very tall already. And
I've been on many a plane with Kyle Fletcher, and I've watched him have to duck his way through making his way onto any parts of the plane.
Shove him neatly into seats where there are no leg room. What a guy. I hope he gets a little bit more leg room on this trip home, because he's going to need it, because there's going to be quite the action going on in this show. Definitely watch AEW Grand Slam Australia. It's going to be just a absolutely killer show. AEW Unrestricted is sponsored in part by Upper Deck. Woo! Collect your favorite wrestlers in the 2024 Upper Deck.
I want to shout one out because
what do you got? What do you got?
I got Brandon Martinez.
You got it. He literally texted me today and was like, "Oh man, if you see my card, grab it." Okay, I'm gonna have to get that from you.
Oh, yes. That's so cool.
He heard a rumor. He's like, "Hey, if you find my card, look at this. I'm just gonna send him a link.
Tell him
I'm just gonna send him a link to the podcast, which, by the way, you can watch on our YouTube channel. Just search AEW Unrestricted on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. If you're not watching, you can definitely listen. New episodes every Thursday on all of your favorite podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, you name it. We're probably on there. And are you an AEW insider? Get early access to ticket pre-sales, special merchandise offers, and more straight to your inbox. Sign up today at AEWTix.com. There was literally an email that came out this week to the insiders that have pre-sales to 4 different shows we have coming up. So it's definitely worth signing up, AEWTix.com. Don't forget, Dynamite's on TBS on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. and streaming on Max. And AEW Collision live every Saturday on TNT. ROH streams every Thursday on Honor Club. And I'm Aubrey Edwards. Shortly on my way to Australia. See you down under, mates. Thanks for listening.